Welcome back to the Jumpify Labs podcast. Today, we're talking about how to win back clients in a world where what you're offering seems to be a little outdated. I'm joined by Shawn Young, founder of Energy Hedge, where his company specializes in helping commercial clients cut energy costs through renewable projects, not just solar. Shawn, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jay. It's good to see you.
Good to
Thanks
see
for
you
having
too,
me
my
on.
man.
I like our matching shirts.
Yeah, I know, right? It's kind of odd, but I mean, hey, we look cool. It's we're friends now. So just to kick us off a little bit, talk to us about your background before Energy Hedge and kind of what led you to renewable energy.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Yeah. So I grew up in Southern California in a city named Oxnard. It's a blue collar town. Everybody's family is construction workers, plumbers, military, teachers, things of that nature. None of our friends had fathers or mothers that were lawyers or C-level executives. I got an athletic scholarship to attend Sacramento State University. Ended up going to college there and getting a degree and not knowing what I wanted to do when I got out of college. I just got into sales because I had to get the gap. Okay. I got into financial sales where we were doing equipment leasing and also later on leasing or financing for commercial buildings 3 stories and under, as well as gas stations, which I had a niche on. 2008 hit and a financial crisis took place and everything was collapsing. And I decided to go on I'd say a tour at the very least of California and visit some old friends and get back in touch with everybody and really took some time off to think about what I wanted to do. And during that time, I have a good friend I grew up with who he started a construction company specialized in being an electrician, and his company probably does about 40 million a year. He does very well for himself. And he told me, Shawn, you come from a construction background, but you're first generation educated. You should really look into solar energy sales. And I said, what is solar? This was
Uh,
2008. You got to remember this. So I looked into it and I put myself through a little school for 2 weeks that had a bunch of seminars, got that on my resume, and I was invited to come work for a small family solar company out of the San Fernando Valley. And I learned the industry there, and I got into residential and small commercial sales there while I was there too. I was there for about 4 years, learned a ton. They were great people. And then I was recruited to be a sales manager, sales director for a upstart solar sales company that was partnering with a company you may have heard with, Sunrun. And we started with 4 or 5 reps in a small office in Culver City, California, in the middle of LA, and ended up growing that thing to 50, 60 reps and 5 offices from Sacramento to San Diego, doing 200 projects a month at one point.
wow.
Yeah, we really grew fast. Now you got to remember this was the height of the residential PPA age in solar energy. And so everybody was selling really good right then. And there were a lot of clients that were very interested. In about 2016, I kind of saw the saturation in the market and I wanted to grow in the industry. And I met a friend who had specialized in utility scale solar. And he told me, utility scale and residential is going to slow down, but where the real meat is now is commercial and industrial. And I looked for positions within that side of the industry. And then I just said, why do I want to work for anybody else? I'm going to start my own company, and Energy Hedge popped at the top of my list in terms of a name. I branded it and I got out there and I went door to door and I found clients that had very high electric bills in different utilities. And we specialized in matching solar EPCs, solar installers, and solar financiers, and being able to develop those projects for those companies and save them a lot of money. At that time, most of our clients were local manufacturers, local distributors, high energy consumers. And I was fortunate enough to meet somebody who needed some help, and he was new to the industry and he needed help with a Fortune 500 company by the name of Iron Mountain.
Hmm.
And I flew up to Portland, Oregon to meet with them. And we ended up doing a project with them where we 25 of their buildings under one contract. And
Wow.
it was a great project for them. This was in 2019. And during that time, the gentleman for Iron Mountain told me, hey, look, I actually don't work for Iron Mountain. I'm contracted with them. My company I work for is a large commercial real estate company by the name of CBRE. You may have heard of them. CBRE is the largest holder of real estate in the United States. And so he said, I like what you're doing. I want to introduce me to my boss. And I got on the phone and got to know their bosses and his bosses in Chicago, and they liked what I was doing. So I ended up flying to New York and signing a contract with them in late 2019 on being their renewable energy consultant for Fortune 500 clients that were their clients.
Wow.
They had a facilities management division, and we're talking Pepsi, we're talking Ford, we're talking Electrolux, Iron Mountain, Hartford Insurance, companies like that, companies that we all know. And by February 2020, this was only 5 months later, everything fell apart because of COVID. COVID was starting to take off. And CBRE said that they were pausing everything at this point, not just with me, with everybody. And a lot of people were being furloughed or transferring departments. And their clients, for instance, Johnson and Johnson or Pepsi, they're figuring out how to keep their factory open. They're figuring out who's going to work from home or how many people they can have in their building at one time. So there was no new initiatives taking place.
Hmm.
So at this point, I'm looking at this thing going, what am I going to do here?
Yeah.
And some of the people that worked with me, including an ex partner, he had to go take a job, which I respected. And I was hanging on by the side of the mountain. I had two fingers barely keeping me above water. And I ended up taken 2 years to get a permit on some of my projects, which usually take 2 months, and everything was moving slow. The world was different at that point. But we held on, we kept pushing, and we got through COVID, and I rebuilt the same way I built the company back then. Through local LA-based, San Diego-based, Riverside-based, Southern California-based companies that are high energy users. And now we're doing very well to the point where we're back to doing nationwide projects. We've got projects in Florida, the Northeast, and we are actually expanding our product line. And so that's the background of Energy Hedge on how we got to the point where we are today.
Yeah, that's an amazing story. It sounds like so I'm a sales guy as well. So I heard a bit of the grit, the tenacity there. You went door to door initially, and then you ended up landing a what sounds like a whale client that kind of really sprungboard you to the next level. And then when things kind of hit the fan, when COVID hit, you just kind of went back to what you normally do and just kind of foot soldier it in your local market.
Yeah, I just got up in the backyard and it was grassroots campaign. We're basically going door to door or making relations with people that I knew from back in the day who maybe they were selling lighting, maybe they were selling AC and HVAC units and really starting to combine our resources. But it was on the phone all day or walking the pavement all day, one or the other.
Interesting. That's interesting because a lot of people are so intimidated to do something like door to door or even just pick up the phone and call, where you've literally built a business, a fairly significant and large successful business, just off of what kind of sounds just again grit and that tenacity. So I
Mhm.
commend you for that. I want to ask you, what's your actual inspiration when it comes to building business? In any specific person, anything like a book you read, a movie like Jordan Belfort? Oh, I don't know. Like what actually inspires you to have that grit, that tenacity?
I'd say it's a few different people in my life, starting with my dad. My dad is a blue collar construction worker, and I've seen him wake up at 5 a.m. or 4:30 a.m. for his lifetime and go out there in the sun and, use power tools and work tough. And he doesn't come from much. And for me to be able to sit there and be blessed with the life that he gave me and how he raised me, I feel like I use him as an inspiration to be able to springboard my life. And if I have to get out there and knock on doors and be told no 99 times to be able to get that one yes, or to be able to pound the phones every day, um, he's the biggest inspiration for me to be able to be successful and be able to be on my own. I would also say I owe it to a lot of my coaches. I was an I was an athlete in college. I played football and in high school, and they are similar like father figures or uncles almost, where they teach you discipline. And these are people that don't make a lot of money in this world, but they sacrifice a lot of their time to be able to teach young men and women leadership skills and how to be disciplined in life and to go out there and learn to be a good teammate. And so I don't want people like my father or these coaches that I've had in my life to be able to look at me and feel like I didn't learn from them, that their time was well worth it.
Yeah, that's really amazing to hear. I find a similar thing with myself. It's like my uncle joined the military from the Philippines, petitioned all of us over here. I'd have a completely different lifestyle if it wasn't for him, my parents, and really just making that sacrifice. Which is why I joined the military as well, just to kind of pay that back, kind of let them know that I'm appreciative for their sacrifice. So I resonate with you really strongly there. I want to talk about now Energy Hedge. It's your baby, right? So, how do you actually start with a client, and how are you guiding them towards the right energy solutions?
Well, we target, first of all, when we target a client, we target an industry for the most part. We help high energy consumers. And being in the industry long enough, I already know who they are. Um, Manufacturing, cold storage, distribution, hospitals, things of that nature. We target them. And what we do is we talk to their C-level staff, their facilities managers or CFOs about how the different products that we carry will be able to replace their local utility. You see, their local utility, you can't shop it. You only have one company you can go to. Where you're
Mhm.
in the San Diego area, you have San Diego Gas and Electric, most likely.
Yep.
We have Southern California Edison, or if you're in Los Angeles, LADWP, and in Northern California, you have PG&E. Your territory determines who you're buying your electricity from. So what does that tell you? They know you can't shop. So they are going to raise their rates sky high on you every year. And every year you're seeing a 10 to 15, maybe even a 20% increase in your rates, especially when you're in a commercial and industrial company. So what we do is we talk to them about the financial benefits to their company because companies always run on the bottom line. They run on being profitable. Do people do it because they're saving the earth? I've never met one company that's done that. I've always met they do have green initiatives. Usually they're publicly traded companies, but in saying that, smaller local companies or even public companies now under this new administration who aren't being pushed with the green agenda, they're always doing it because they can save money in the bottom line. And we sit down and we show them the tax incentives. We show them the payback period and the return on their investment and a savings program for not just year 1 or 2, but 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road.
Yeah, and with your salesmanship and your ability to present, I'm sure by the time you're done presenting the solution, it's like, why would I not do this? The hard part is getting that appointment in the first place.
The
Because,
hardest part is absolutely what you just said, Jay. It's
yeah,
getting the appointment. Because once you're in the door, our closing ratio's 70, 80%.
yeah. Especially when it's just clear black and white math, it's logical that, hey, this is exactly what's going to happen. We project it out, and there's no way that, well, I mean, of course, there's a little bit of healthy skepticism on like, will this actually work? But for the most part, if it's all plain there, black and white, I mean, every business, as you said, they care about the bottom line.
They
So
care about the bottom line. We ask them up front, what is your buying criteria? Do you guys prefer to pay cash or do you finance everything? If you pay cash, how many years do we have to beat in terms of your buyback period? Is it under 5 years, under 7 years, under 4 years? If we finance the project, what is the minimum percentage we have to meet for you guys to save money? Is it 10% in year 1, 20%? And then we just build the project around their buying box.
yeah, ask them what they want to buy, ask them their criteria, and then give it to them. That's amazing.
Right.
Yeah, it's not really rocket science when you know how to ask the right questions.
That's right.
Okay, so I want to talk about a little bit. We mentioned a little bit of healthy skepticism. You did come from the solar, specifically solar. Now you're offering a buffet of solutions. But what back then when you mentioned to me on our prior call, a lot of clients were kind of like jazzed about, not jazzed, I don't know if that's the right word, but jaded about solar. So you've essentially had to win them back. And let's talk a little bit about your process of winning them back.
So when we talk with them, we talk with them about what happened the first time. Why didn't you buy? Why didn't you guys sign the bottom line? Therefore, we have their objections all laid out on the table. Okay. Usually it's because well, there's several reasons. The first one's usually because someone didn't design the system around their buy box. So if they need to beat 5 years on a return on their investment, or they need to have an 11% IRR, it wasn't able to reach that point at that time, or somebody just didn't do a good job. But in saying that, under the Biden administration, they passed a lot of green initiative bills, and those bills increased the tax credits and depreciation on a lot of renewable investments. In saying that, maybe a client looked under the first Trump administration or the second Obama administration during that time and just thought, hey, you know what? This doesn't work for us. The last time you looked was 10 years ago. And at the same time, your local utility has raised their rates 150% on you. So you've just had money going out the door, out the door. Let's take a look at this again. The first way to be able to sell energy to a client is not by selling them the energy. It's by showing them their current situation and showing them how their local utility is the bad guy. I like to call PG&E or San Diego Gas and Electric Darth Vader. I say that is Darth Vader. Darth Vader's here in your office every time you turn on these lights, your computer or your machines back in the warehouse, and Darth Vader's killing you and he's sucking money out of your pocket. I'm going to show you how you can save money.
That's
And
so
so
great.
now look, it also can be other ways that they didn't end up moving forward. It could be that maybe they have a factory or a processing plant that sits on a very small parcel of land. So it's more vertical, and therefore solar, there's only so much solar you can put on that land. Or maybe they have a second or third shift at their factory, and it's nighttime. Solar's not going to power the night. Well, did you include battery? Yeah, but it really didn't pencil for us. Okay, we have other solutions for you: hydrogen, syngas, or linear generation, which are other forms of energy production. Let's look at those and see which one works for you and your company. In saying that, we can offer different product lines now where we couldn't before. And therefore, it doesn't matter what doesn't work, one of those is going to work for you. So let's look at each one and look at the pros and cons of your facility and match them with the appropriate energy source. And all of them are zero carbon, by the way: hydrogen, syngas, and linear generation. All of them. So you can still tout this as a green project if you want to.
Hmm. That's so cool. I like how there's so many benefits for going down this way. Yes, they could call themselves as a green company, but also just a financial sense. I like your approach too on education. You want to kind of re-educate your clients on the changes that's happened because there's been significant time that's passed. I also really like your Darth Vader analogy, by the way. I'm a big Star Wars geek,
Me
so
too. Me too.
that really hits home for me. Let's pivot a little bit. Let's talk about the future. Where do you see renewable energy market kind of changing or going in the next, I guess, 3 to 5 years?
I think it's going to be big on powering big energy consumers. It's going to be like you only see like 10% of them so far adapt to solar or hydrogen. It's not that they don't want to, they don't know how to do it. You're going to see it move big, and especially in California, because PG&E, Southern California Edison, and San Diego Gas and Electric, including LADWP and Sacramento, which is called SMUD, their rates are just going to keep going higher, higher, and faster because of the state's renewable initiatives. Doesn't matter what happens in Washington, D.C., Sacramento's still going to push. Companies that do business here have to participate in green initiatives. So, in saying that, it allows for the utilities to continue to push and increase their rates higher and higher and higher. And at the same time, that they pass that on to everybody, but mainly industrial. Industrial is going to get hit hard. And so you're going to see a lot more companies adapt to what offerings that companies like mine have. It will take off nationwide as well. It's starting to now, but the more renewable energy projects are out there, the lower the cost to produce comes in, and utilities aren't lowering their costs. I don't care if you're in Texas, I don't care if you're in Alabama, I don't care if you're in North Carolina or Illinois or New York or California. When's the last time you've seen your utility lower their costs for you? Ain't gonna
Yeah,
happen. So the lower the cost of renewable energy, the higher the cost of your utility. High energy users will be the ones that will be the first adopters. And I'm all over that right now.
Yeah,
In terms of education, you mentioned something, and I wanted to add this, if you don't mind.
of course.
I like to educate them on the differences in the pricing and the product lines and the tax incentives that have changed since the last time that they've looked into this. But the biggest thing I teach them on is their own bill. It's like if you met with a financial advisor and you go over your bank statements, your stock accounts, whatever in real estate you own, whatever investments you own, you break it all down into one piece of paper and they kind of in a pie scenario, and they're showing you where you're strong and you're weak. I break down their electric and utility bills for them and I show you, look, you have 7 meters on this campus. Four of these are very, very small bills and rates because you're only using computers. It's office space, computers, lights, things of that nature. But look at these 3 meters. These 3 meters are where you run your machines. And look at the difference in the pricing. Office space, you might get charged 4 cents a kilowatt hour, not even a nickel. 4 cents a kilowatt hour to run your machines, you're getting charged like $23 a kilowatt hour,
Mm,
not 23 cents, $23.
yeah.
So we don't need to offset you 100%. We're just going to attack those 3 meters right there. And that's the
Wow.
difference between us and other companies. It's high level consulting, and I'm breaking down their bill right in front of them. Because at the end of the day, a lot of times they just write the check.
Yeah.
They don't really look at it, and I'm showing them where the cancer is on their utility bills, and we're gonna attack that cancer.
Right. That sounds like, yeah, definitely consultative style of selling when you're actually breaking down the numbers and doing some little bit more deeper investigation into what the actual problem is so you can diagnose a better solution. Okay, so you mentioned as well that there's going to be a lot of industrial going towards renewable energy with, of course, the utilities hiking their pricing up and then people are looking for separate solutions. What is Energy Hedge doing to capitalize on some of this market growth? And what kind of steps are you taking to make sure you participate?
Well, the one is a couple things. The first thing is that again, we're offering a buffet of energies where no one else is. It. We're the only people doing that. If you sell hydrogen, you only sell hydrogen. If you sell what's called syngas, you only sell that. If you're only selling natural gas linear generation, that's the only product you're selling. We're selling that and solar. We give you all kinds of different options here. Okay, that's the first step. The second step is we are identifying owner operators of these buildings and through different software systems that we've subscribed to that help us reach out to clients. The third thing is we team up with like-minded individuals in our space. LED lighting, HVAC, roofing companies, things of that nature, other construction companies, other subs that have clients who are looking to save money on their bill, but they haven't met with us or a company like us, but they have met with our lighting partners because the new LED lighting that'll help you save 10% on your bill from day one just by switching old lights for new ones. Or your old HVAC systems that are 15, 20 years old, the brand new ones, they'll save you 90% of your energy when it comes to your air conditioning consumption. Okay. So we team up with them and we go in as partners sometimes on projects to be able to offer 3 or 4 different items to a client as one package. And then finally, as I discussed with you on a private call, look, man, I'm an older guy here. I don't keep up with the kids. I'm lost on social media, to be honest with you. I once had a MySpace page. Okay, I still have a Facebook page. I don't have a TikTok. I am on IG, but we need to get our social media going, and so we're doing a rebrand, and also we're going to be becoming very aggressive marketing online through social media and through other sources as well. And
Amazing.
a lot of it can be AI generated as well, which we're happy to get into.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, we can talk about that potentially a little bit after this. But
How'd I know you'd say that?
yeah, I want to wrap this up. I want to wrap this up. I want to make sure that you have time to tackle your task for the day. For somebody listening, what's the first step for them to explore renewable energy with Energy Edge?
I would say take a look at your bill. If you have an electric bill of $20,000 a month or more, And, you can absolutely call us. You can go to our website, energyhedgegroup.com, or to my LinkedIn page, Shawn Young, and contact us and let us know your issues. And, we'll let you know right away whether we think we can help. It's not going to be a long, drawn out process. We either tell you that you're in a good position, there's nothing, I wouldn't recommend doing anything, or we'll tell you exactly how we can help you right away.
Mhm. Outstanding. All right, Shawn. Well, thank you again for your time. For those listening, if you enjoyed stories like this from other business leaders, sales leaders, people actually in the trenches growing their business, their teams, etc., be sure to tune in for more. We have more stories, more outstanding individuals to share their stories. Thanks so much. Talk soon.